See if we can't find the stream. Shouldn't be too far away. I think it's currently loading onto the channel right now. There's the audio. Game audio is working. Party audio is working. The stream's up. The chat's up. We're all good to go. That is absolutely fantastic. Hello everyone and welcome to round 9 of the PlayStation Pacific Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm LaneEveringham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix. Constructed in 2012 and designed by track-making Supremo Herman Tilke, COTA is a 5.51 kilometer 20-turn racetrack built to rekindle the relationship between USA and Formula One after the disastrous Grand Prix at Indianapolis in 2005. The layout features an interesting and wide variety of sections. There's a high-speed SS section in the first sector, long straights and heavy braking zones in the second, and tight hairpins coupled with fast sweepers in the third. As a result, a wide variety of car setup could be used for this race. High downforce will make the car faster in the first and third sectors, making it an ideal setup for qualifying, whereas a low downforce setup will help drivers find time in the middle sector and with overtaking during the race. Speaking of which, the main overtaking spots to keep an eye out for are with the help of DRS heading up the main straight into turn 1 and heading down the back straightaway into turn 12. We may see some passing as well into the hairpins of turn 10 and 15. Now, before we focus on qualifying, there is a little bit of news to go through first from last week's race at Silverstone. There weren't any stewards reports, so the final results from last week stand. In the Drivers' Championship, GeForce Crichton is leading the way on 206 points, followed by GeForce 40 on 203. 3 points separating the top two in the championship. It is well and truly on between Crichton and Ford. GeForce Leo is P3 on 137, still mathematically in contention, but needs some pretty big races to go his way from here to the end of the season. Spicy is P4 on 119, followed by Spilly on 110, then Plevs on 108. High Contrast is P7 on 96, followed by Ferrari Pro on 57, Wogboy on 50, and completing the top 10 is Darren 11 on 43 points. In the Constructors, McLaren are leading on 256. They're 13 points in front of Ferrari on 243. Mercedes are P3 on 218. They're currently 25 points behind Ferrari and 38 behind McLaren. So we've got a relatively tight fight between the top three constructors. P4 is Alpine on 149. They are some ways behind the top three. So realistically, from here to the end of the championship season, it's likely going to be a three-way fight between McLaren, Ferrari and Mercedes. As Williams has had a moment coming out of the final corner. Hello. That was an interesting rejoin there from Vision, but fortunately there was no collision after the spin. P5 in the Constructors is Red Bull on 124 points, followed by AlphaTauri on 111. Alfa Romeo next on 93, followed by Williams on 89, Haas on 52, and Aston Martin rounding out the top 10 on 29 points. Hello KD, hello Drax, nice to see you both in the chat. Hopefully we all get to enjoy what should be an interesting Grand Prix here at Circuit of the Americas. Now, usually I would introduce my co-commentator for tonight, which is usually GeForce Pato, but he is unavailable for today. So I'm on my own in the commentary box, but that's okay. That's okay with me. At the moment, no one's set a lap time during qualifying. People are still out there on their first flying laps. Got a couple of drivers coming up towards the line. The first benchmark will be set by Isaac Kush. 1 minute 32.793. That is a reference for everyone else to try and match. While High Contrast is making his way around. Turn 15, I mentioned this corner earlier in the intro. Nice wide entry into the left-hand hairpin. It creates quite a big gap on the inside where drivers can try and send it in, Kvyat style, to try and make an overtake happen. It's definitely an overtaking spot, but you need a lot of respect between yourself and the driver you're trying to battle. High Contrast will cross the line to set a 33.7. Currently just under 1 second off the pace of Isaac Kush, our current pole sitter. Luke making his way out of turn 11. Spilly, it has invalidated this lap. But it appears like he's going to have another go. Tell you what, we might ride on board with the Red Bull driver, give you a guided tour of the racetrack. In fact, no, he's invalidated the second lap as well. So maybe, just maybe, he invalidated at turn 19, the penultimate corner on the racetrack, and as a result, he's invalidated 2 flying laps as G-Force Ford, the man who was second in the championship, goes to pole position with a 32.702. Ferrari Pro jumps up to P5 with a 1 minute 33.357. Grimmy has an invalidated lap as well. Both Red Bulls on invalidated laps. Karma's on an invalidated lap. Plez on a flying lap, making his way around the hairpin of turn 11, then down this back straightaway, heading towards turn 12. You can see a nice little feature in qualifying. The sun is well and truly in the driver's eyes. You have to pay close attention to the braking boards as you head into the deep braking zone of turn 12. Braking at the 100-meter board, clipping the apex, but losing the back end on the exit there. He's losing control of the car, but he managed to gather it up pretty well. Plevs making his way up towards turn 15. Both Red Bulls just in front. Hopefully they recognise that he's on a flying lap and don't impede him. He makes his way around the triple right-hander of turn 16, 17 and 18. A Red Bull well and truly getting out of the way there. Both of them getting out of the way. Around turn 19, may talk about that corner a bit later on. And around turn 20, the final corner on the racetrack. And Plez will set a 33.8. Goes P8 with that lap time. Old boy getting ready. Hillez on a flying lap. Crichton about to begin a flying lap. Tell you what, we're right on board with the current championship leader. Give you a guided tour of this 5.5 kilometre racetrack. Down the main straightaway with DRS open, he'll head up this massive hill into the deep braking zone of turn 1. Entry speed just under 300 kilometres an hour, brings it down to second gear, gets back on the accelerator as he heads down the hill sideways. Around turn 2, there was a brilliant catch as well out of turn 1. Into the S's now, turns 3, 4, into 5, then the double apex right of turn 6. Now into turn 7. This completes the first sector. Around turn 8, you're climbing up a small hill here. And around the left-hander of turn 9, be careful on the exit. How is that not an invalidation? He ran so wide on the exit. Don't tell me you can get away with that. That's insane. Around the hairpin of turn 11, then down the back straightaway. Heading towards turn 12. He'll open DRS, shift it up into top gear, and make his way towards the deep braking zone. Entry speed, 310 kilometers an hour. Brings it all the way down to just over 90 kilometers an hour at the apex of turn 12. Making his way around turn 13, into turn 14, then up towards the tight left-hand hairpin of turn 15. Keeps it in third gear, kisses the apex nicely, gets a nice tidy exit as well, and around 16, 17, and turn 18. As he makes his way towards turn 19. A blind apex here, so you have to sort of guess where the apex is when you head into the corner. Of course, if you have racing line turned on, that isn't really a problem. He exits the final corner, crosses the line, and goes second fastest with a 1 minute 32.789. Now, considering he had a few dicey moments over the course of that lap, there is still plenty of time to find for Crichton. So he is definitely a challenger for pole position. Isaac Kush, he's getting ready, it seems, to set a flying lap, making his way up towards the final turn. Yeah, that's quite a weird advantage, Drax. At the exit of turn 9, it was very reminiscent to Spoon Curve back at Suzuka, where we saw some of the fastest times being set. We see drivers taking advantage of the terrible track limits in this game. Yeah, I didn't know that about turn 9. Had no idea. Here's that Kush making his way through the first sector. Around turn 6 in 6th gear. Crossing the first sector split, he's up by almost 0.2 of a second. Around turn 8 into turn 9. See, he's not taking advantage of the track limits there. Keeps the car well and truly on the black stuff. You could hear big lock-up into that corner. The engine note completely disappeared as he went into the corner. I do believe, though, that is a sound glitch. I don't think he was actually locking up into the corner. Now turn 12. 313 kilometers an hour is the peak speed he reached, just under 90 at the apex, and he actually lost time to the middle sector. Lost a few hundredths, but he's still up overall. Into the hairpin of turn 15, fourth gear, back on the accelerator. You can see how much he's modulating it through the corner, trying to keep the car stable. Around the triple right-hander and up towards turn 19. Seventh gear, he'll bring it down to fifth gear, hits the apex, absolutely spot on, using the perfect amount of runoff area on the outside of the corner as well, as he crosses the line and jumps up to pole position with a 1 minute 32.539. G-Force Ford, the man who is currently second in the Drivers' Championship, sets off on his second flying lap, heading down the main straightaway, or rather up into turn 1, brings it all the way down to fourth gear, doesn't bother using third nor second at the first hairpin, keeps it in fourth. Gets a nice run through turn 2, and now into the S's. Turns 3, 4, into the left-hander of 5, now turn 6, modulating the throttle nicely. Then he eventually reaches full throttle. Then he has to get immediately off it as he heads into turn 7, around turn 8, now turn 9. See, not abusing track limits there either. From 40, only Crichton I've seen so far has abused those track limits. Gets a nice run out of the hairpin at turn 11. Trying to get a cheeky slipstream here. Very cheeky from the Alfa Romeo in front. Little bit of luck there for 40. He'll take advantage of it. Brings it all the way down to fourth gear again for turn 12. Quite unorthodox. Seeing guys use second gear through there in 40. He is currently down to the middle currently up to the middle sector, but only by 14 thousandths of a second. Out to turn 15, heading up towards the triple right-hander. Absolutely flat out through this section. You have to be very, very committed. But fortunately, these soft tyres provide plenty of grip. Out of the penultimate turn, using all of the curb on the outside and around the final corner. He'll head up towards the line to set a 32.641. Stays P3. His G-Force compatriot Leo is in second place with a 32.576. Currently a G-Force 2, 3 and 4. As Crichton's getting ready to set a lap. Darren 11's on an in-lap. Spicy's on the end of a flying lap. He'll cross the line, jumps up to P5, 1 minute 32.976. Beating Darren 11 by 11 thousandths of a second. Contrast is on an in-lap. Visions on an out-lap. Getting ready to set another flying lap. Crichton will begin another flying lap. Down the main straightaway he goes, up towards turn 1. We saw him rev it out in 7th gear. This time he shifts it up into 8, brings it down to 4th, down to 3rd gear. Does he short shift? No is the answer. He carries 3rd gear at the exit of turn 1. This time it was massively tidier from our championship leader. Through the S's we go, through turn 4, into 5, then turn 6, brings it down to 6th gear. Crosses the first sector split. He's up by 4 hundredths of a second. Around turn 8. Short shifts up to 5th gear, around turn 9, and look at that. I can't believe you are capable of doing that in this game. Able to abuse those track limits. Crichton's taking full advantage of it. Out of turn 11, he'll head down the back straightaway with the sun directly in his visor, heading towards turn 12. 8th gear he'll shift into, climbing up to a top speed of around 310 kilometers an hour. As he gets on the brakes, brings it down to 3rd gear, gets back on the accelerator as soon as he hits the apex. And he's currently up by just over 1.5 tenths to the middle sector. Into turn 15, brings it down to 3rd gear, gets back on the accelerator. Nice and gentle application of the throttle. Around the triple right-hander of 16, 17 and 18, heading up towards the penultimate turn. He'll shift it down to 6th gear, doesn't bother using 5th, just uses 6th gear, and he decides to bail out of the lap. He's not going to commit to that lap. He's going to duck back into pit lane and put on another set of tyres and allow the track to evolve that little bit more. Interesting. Oh. Ferrari Pro getting his tyres up to temperature. We might do an onboard lap, Vegan. He is getting ready to set a flying lap. Wogboy appears to be going back into the pits. 10 Sandals. His session might be over with P9. Eye Contrast getting ready. Vision on a flying lap. He's heading up towards turn 12 as I speak. Look at the top speed we're seeing here. 310, 315 kilometers an hour. A whole 5 kilometers an hour quicker than G-Force Crichton, suggesting quite obviously that Vision has lower wings on this Williams. He's got better top speed, and the sector reflects that. It's apparently purple to the middle sector. Coming out to turn 15, there was a bit of lag there. He makes his way around the triple right-hander. Absolutely flat out. He hits the apex at 17. Try and keeps it nice and narrow through turn 18 as well. Coming around turn 19 and up towards turn 20. Brings it down to third gear. Back on the accelerator nice and gently. He'll cross the line and jump up to P7. Ferrari Pro, meanwhile, on a flying lap. Around turn 2 he goes. Up towards turn 3, 7th gear. It's flat through 3 and 4. Now into turn 5, then turn 6. Brings it down to 5th gear. Really revving out the Williams. First sector split says he's up by a 10th of a second. Around turn 8, 4th gear, back on the accelerator, keeping his Williams nice and stable. There was no wheel spin, no oversteer either from Ferrari Pro as he heads into the hairpin of turn 11. Down to 2nd gear, clips the apex nicely, gets a nice run on the exit as well. Doesn't bother to use the outside curb, just uses the tarmac available to him. Heading up towards turn 12. What kind of peak speed will we see here from Ferrari Pro? 310, 312, a little bit quicker than Crichton, but very similar to some of the other drivers that I've seen on their flying laps. And he's currently up by quite a bit too. 3.5 tenths to the middle sector. Around turn 15, the tight left-hand hairpin. 2nd gear, short shifting to 3rd. Up to 4th gear, 5th gear, 6th gear as he carries the throttle all the way round the triple right-hander. Now into turn 19, down to 5th gear. Back on the accelerator. Nice wide entry into the final turn. 3rd gear up towards the line for Ferrari Pro. And it's P5 with a 32.955. So not enough for pole. A bit of a wiggle there. I'm not sure if that's an angry wiggle or a happy wiggle. Maybe a happy wiggle because he did improve by quite a bit there. Maybe he had more time. I'm not sure. But P5 is pretty solid all the same. Look at all this. Look at the mini-map. There is so much traffic making their way through the final sector. Trying to find a bit of racetrack to drive on. But who's going to snag pole? Is it going to be one of the top 4? That's a likelihood. It's going to be one of the top 4, but maybe, just maybe, someone lower down might be able to put together one hell of a flying lap. Out of the final corner, G-Force Crichton will begin what will be his final flying lap of the session. 40 will do the same. Whereabouts is Leo? Leo's on the main straight. What about Izzat? He's on the main straight as well. So they're all line astern. Out of turn 1 goes Crichton. Through turn 2, up towards the S's now. Into 3, 4, turn 5, now into turn 6. Very committed into the S's. Holding the accelerator for an incredibly long time. And he's currently up by 1/10 of a second. 40, meanwhile, is up by 25 thousandths to the first sector. What about Izzat Kush? Couldn't quite catch his first sector, but they're all getting through pretty unscathed. Out of the hairpin of turn 11, Crichton makes his way towards turn 12. Now, has he changed his setup? Has he kept it the same? Let's find out. What kind of peak speed will we see here from the Mercedes? 308, 309, 310. Oh, I think that's Leo pulling off to the side. His session is done. He will not be able to challenge for pole position. So now it's between Izzat Kush, G-Force Ford, and G-Force Crichton. Izzat to the middle sector. Does he improve? The answer is no. He's down massively. He's down by 3/10. 40's apparently purple to the middle sector. Crichton making his way around 16, 17, and 18. Up towards turn 19. If he wants to take pole, he needs to improve by 2.5 tenths. Has he found that time on this flying lap? Out to the final corner, up towards the line. He jumps up to pole by 1/10 of a second. Can 40 snatch it away? The answer is yes. A 32.3. He snatches pole by 0.5 of a second away from Crichton. Oh my goodness me. Darren 11 crosses the line. He would have improved to a 32.6. He would have been 5th fastest, but he invalidated that flying lap. So there we are. I believe that is qualifying over. Everyone else is finished or in pit lane. It's 40 who starts from pole. A 32.370. The fastest time at the end of qualifying. There we are, 56,000 separating the top two at the end of qualifying, and to no surprise, it's 40 and Crichton once again at the top. Isaac Kush right there in 3rd place as well. Wasn't able to put together that final lap in the session. I wonder if he was able to put that final lap together, what kind of time they would have produced. Leo, similar story as well, had to bail out of their final flying lap, making a mistake somewhere on that final run. Spicy P5 followed by Ferrari Pro, Darren 11. Vision, Bags and Plebs rounding out the top 10. Wogboy P11 followed by Tent Sandals, I Contrast, Grimmy, Hillez, Luke, Spilly, Roscoe Arm, G-Force Sack and Karma with no time next to his name will start from the very back in 20th position. So, race time. Conditions? Clear blue skies. Not a cloud in sight. Be interesting to see who starts on what tyre for this Grand Prix. I mean, we all know with this game it's either medium hard or hard medium, but even then, there's still elements of strategy even with those sets of circumstances. Be interesting to see who goes with what for the start of this race. Time for the start of the formation lap, and I can see a mixture of tyres on the front row. 40 will be starting on the medium compound tyre. Crichton alongside him is starting on the hard tyre. Interesting. The top two in the championship, the top two after qualifying, as those two are playing with each other already. They're starting on different... Oh my goodness, they've been disqualified because of the contact. It wasn't much, but the top two have been disqualified for the formation lap. Now, those tyres, they'll be pretty stone cold. They weren't able to get much temperature into them. They're going to be pretty stranded at the start of this race, I imagine. We'll go through the rest of the order. Isaac Kush, P3 is on the hard tyre. G-Force Leo's on the hard tyre as well in P4. Spicy P5 on the mediums, just like Ford. Then behind him, Ferrari Pro, Darren 11, Vision, Bags, Plebs, Wogboy, Tent Sandals and I Contrast. All of them are starting on the hard compound tyre, all 8 drivers. Then the 4 drivers behind them, Grimmy, Hillez, Luke and Spilly, they're all starting on the mediums. And the 3 drivers behind them, Roscoe Arm, Zach and Karma, they're all starting on the hards. So we've got 6 drivers on the mediums. That means 14 on the hard compound tyre. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Well, Isaac Kush has taken off. He's way in front of everybody else, trying to get temperature into his tyres. Maybe trying to feel the car out as well through the final sector with race fuel in the car. Yeah, he's trying to get as much temperature into his tyres as possible. Now we can see the top 2, they're lined up already after their collision at turn 1. 40 on the outside and on the medium compound tyre. He should theoretically get a better start than Crichton, who was on the inside line, the dirty side of the racetrack and on the hard tyre. But both drivers will have cold tyres for the start of this race. At least I think they will. They should. Rest of the field are lining up into their respective grid slots. How is the start going to go down? Hello ACW as well. Nice to see you in the chat. Alrighty, I believe all 20 cars are lined up ready to race. We got 28 laps in front of us and 10 red lights. And we're underway here in Texas. It's a nice start from Leo in P4. It's a nice start from 40 from pole. And look at Isaac Kush steaming around the outside. Oh, the leaders try and challenge. It's tight at turn 1. Leo's forced wide as they head down the hill towards turn 2. Crichton in P2. 40 trying to fight into the S as we go. Side by side, the majority of the field. And somehow they're all getting through. Crichton runs wide at turn 6. Oh, and a spin. It's Billy in the Red Bull spinning down to last place. But what a start from Isaac Kush. We got yellows out, more spinning happening, Grimmy involved, Leo involved. He's down to 17th position. Bags having a moment. At turn 10, a collision between him and Luke as Karma goes through into 12. Down the inside goes Luke into the hairpin. Karma maintains 12th, 10th having a go around the outside. Drama on the opening lap here at Kota. Oh my goodness me. 40 trying to fight Crichton. Side by side into turn 12. Crichton with the inside line. He tries to cover him off and he's done so successfully. He's hung on to P2. Around turn 13. Contrast overtaking Hilles. 40 on the attack around the outside at the left-hand hairpin. Can he get drive? Not quite. He's still a little bit alongside. Crichton, I believe, will give him room. Oh, just enough room. They're side by side on the exit. Heading up towards 19. 40 goes round the outside of the championship leader to try and take P2. Crichton fights back. They're side by side down the main straightaway. That's the end of lap 1. Crichton fighting back though. He's got speed. Not enough though to keep the fight alive, it would seem. He's trying to go around the long way. Can he get the over-under? He's trying. He's got his nose alongside as they go into turn 2. But he can't keep the fight alive. Not on the outside line at turn 2. With 40 on the medium compound tyre, he has more grip. He's able to carry more speed through the corner. As a result, Crichton could not keep that fight alive. But what a scrap on the opening lap. Isat's loving it though out in front. 2.1 seconds. It's now shrunk to 2. 40 needs to get a move on. The gap sitting at 2 seconds. His tyres should be up to temperature now. He should be able to push. Crichton P3. Ferrari Pro P4, then Spicy, then Darren 11 and Plevs in P7. He's made up 3 spots after the start. Contrast is up 5. An overtake between Ferrari Pro and Spicy. Down the inside goes the McLaren into turn 12. Ferrari Pro leaves that door open, just lets the overtake happen. Smart driving right there. Karma, Wogboy battling for position. What a start from the Haas driver. Started last after not setting a lap time. He's up 10 spots. He's up 10 spots. That's what happens when you keep out of trouble. People who have found trouble. Vision down 4. Leo making a pass on Roscoe. Or yellows are out. It's Tent Sandals in the Aston Martin. I thought I might have saw a ghosted car. Oh, and another ghosted car. It's another ghosted Aston, in fact. Roscoe at the penultimate turn. Tumbles down to 17th position. Both Astons getting screwed on the same lap in the same sector. Yeah, Leo, a long way behind where he qualified, down 9 positions in 13th. Got a lot of work to do. Meanwhile, 40's on a charge, making full use of those medium tyres. He has clawed the gap back to Isaac Kush and then some. Gap sitting at 0.7 of a second. It's now lap 3, so DRS is now enabled. 40. Will he attack here? Down this straightaway towards turn 12. Got DRS open, closing the gap. 0.4. 3.5. 0.3 as they go towards the left-hander. He's close, but not close enough to send it on Izzat. He stays behind in second place. There's the following train of Crichton, Spicy, Ferrari Pro and Darren 11. Then it's a 2.5 second gap back. Down the inside goes Ford. He's through into the race leader, turn 15. An opportunistic move, but he made it work. Fantastic stuff. But can Izzat fight back? He will have DRS down the main straightaway. But he needs a run out of the final corner. And I don't think he will be able to get it. 40 on those medium tyres has the pace. Look at him drive away. That's insane. Yellows are out. It's Hilles in the Mercedes-Benz. spinning at the penultimate turn. He's down to 15th place, and here comes G-Force Zach to accompany him. Might be a battle on for the final point-scoring spot soon. We've still got this midfield train battling for position. They head down the hill and around turn 2. After Hilles's mistake, Karma's now up 11 places from the start. Darren 11 closing in on Ferrari Pro, losing a little bit of ground to Spicy, who in turn is losing ground to the top 3. Spilly is overtaking his teammate Grimmy, and that's because Grimmy's had a mistake. Spinning at the S section, cuts the grass, rejoins safely in front of the 2 Aston Martins, but he's now outside of the points in 16th place. Ugh. Out of turn 12 and around turn 13. 40 has not been able to drive away from Izzat and Crichton. Maybe those medium tyres are already starting to feel the burn. Either that or DRS is that power. Oh, that's another thing. Saw that flashing red light. 40's low on battery. Yeah, 8%. Izzat's got 44. Crichton's got 25. So, an interesting little strategic battle going on already. It's still got a long way to go, but it's always important to keep an eye on that battery graphic, because it's a very important factor in these races. Battery is incredibly important in F122. You need to manage it well, and you need to utilize it well. Now, Pleasant's got company. He's got Eye Contrast, Karma, and Wogboy sitting in a nice little 4-car train behind as Leo overtakes Vision at turn 1. He's back to P11. Still got a lot of work to do, though. Ton of work to do. But we've seen the speed that Leo has had over the course of this season. Should be able to get through this traffic pretty easily, I would think. He's shown exceptional speed. Just had some rotten luck. I think he might have been caught out by some rotten luck today. Around turn 11. Contrast try and line up something. He's too far behind, I feel. Crichton might. Oh, big old lock-up from Isaac Kush. Heading into turn 12. Crichton close. He won't go for the move just yet. Isaac nice and steady. They head up towards turn 15. Down to 4th, down to 3rd. Back on the accelerator, nice and gently. Around the triple right hand. A bit of a wiggle there. Sort of demonstrating the lack of grip you have around that corner, especially on the hard tyre. The car can just go on you. I've seen it, and I've experienced it myself. It's a very tricky corner to get right during the race. Well, here comes Crichton using battery, using DRS. He might try and go for it here. Down the inside at turn 1. Izzat, can he try and fight back? Trying to get the over-under. Can't get it done. Crichton's into P2. A big send into turn 1, but he's pulled it off. Through the S's now, Izzat will feel all the turbulent air coming off the Mercedes-Benz in front. He'll do his best to try and keep up with Crichton, but unfortunately, physics won't allow him to do that. Although he's done a pretty good job, only 5/10 behind. As they head down the hill towards turn 11, there is Spicy just behind as well. He's on the medium tyre, let's not forget, in P4. He's on the same strategy as the race leader. Very interesting to see how these medium runners fare compared to the hard runners. Leo overtaking Wogboy down the inside at turn 11. He moves himself into 10th. Can Wogboy fight back? Both cars have DRS. Wogboy slots into the slipstream, trying to follow Leo, weaving about a little bit. So is Leo. Wogboy trying to look back down the inside here at turn 12. Can't get it done. Leo hangs on to P10. Spicy moving up a position as well, overtaking Vision as they head around turn 13. Then turn 14 up towards the hairpin of turn 15. And Leo, maybe a man to watch, I reckon. Low on fuel as well. You can tell with the fuel icon on the telemetry, shining red. And you can see on the Mini, on the MFD, he's got minus 0.4. I believe that said. So he is running a little bit under. But he should be able to save that up. Down the main straightaway, there's Wogboy still just following behind. Not close enough to go for the big send. Around turn 1, down the hill towards turn 2. You can see the sparks flying off Contraster's car as Bags Liddell gets a 3-second time penalty. Through the S's on the hard tyre, you have to be so careful. Don't want to be too greedy with the curbs. You don't want to be too eager with the throttle. You want to be nice and smooth with your steering inputs as well. Not that smooth though. Cutting too much there, Leo. That's a 3-second time penalty. Multiple warnings. Around turn 11, then down the back straightaway. Leo will open DRS. Karma doesn't have DRS. Can Leo line up a pass? He's feeling it. He's got overtake switched on. Down the inside of Karma he goes. Not much that Karma can do about this. Runs wide and introduces an opportunity to Wogboy, who humbly accepts P10 from Karma. Karma trying to fight back though. They're side by side heading towards the hairpin. But Wogboy, he has the inside line, parks the bus, or at least tries to. I don't think Karma's able to fight. No, he can't. Stays in P10. Wogboy. Karma stays in P11. Aaron 11 still on the back of Ferrari Pro. He's losing time, understandably, to Spicy. But I reckon those medium tyres, they'll be feeling pretty average now. I reckon that gap probably won't increase. It might start decreasing just a little bit between Spicy and Ferrari Pro. Is that losing a little bit of time as Darren 11 gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings? Look at that line Crichton takes. You can see him. He was off to the far left of screen as Wogboy gets a 3-second time penalty. It's quite insane, really, that drivers who exceed the margins by a little bit at certain parts of the racetrack will get warnings, but Crichton can absolutely abuse the track limits at turn 9 and completely get away with it. Talking about understanding the game. That's understanding the game right there. That's taking advantage of what's there. Still keeping this fight alive at the front. 3.1 seconds. I wonder if he'll now start to close in on 40. Ford. Oh, he spun! 40 has spun! Crichton's taken the lead! Well, all that strategy talk means nothing with that mistake. 40 has lost control through the triple right-hander and has tumbled down to 6th position. Oh my goodness me. Will he pit? No, he'll stay out. Oh my goodness, what a simple mistake. I've done it myself. I know what that feels like. When you're in the middle of the corner, the car just goes from you. The back end just steps away. And that's exactly what happened to Ford. Maybe he touched a little bit of curb as well. Maybe that unsettled the car. Either way, he's down in 6th place. He had a lead, comfortable margin to Crichton as well, and he's thrown it away. Oh, he'd be... Well, if I was him, I'd be furious, and I reckon he'd be furious as well. He's got some work to do. Yeah, quite right, ACW. Yeah. If you turn in too much, the car just goes, it just spins. Really nasty corner. And 40 has just been caught out by it. So, new race leader, GeForce Crichton. And he's got Isaac Kush in hot pursuit. Half a second separating the top 2 cars as they head into the turn 15 hairpin. Spicy occupies the final podium spot. One wonders when he'll make his pit stop onto the hard compound tyre. Hasn't made any ground on the top 2. And in fact, I think Ferrari Pro is starting to close in on Spicy. Spicy, though, stays out for another lap. But the gap between P3 and 4 is sitting at 2 seconds. Darren 11 still sitting in the slipstream, but now has a penalty next to his name. And 40 on those old tyres that have seen better days just don't have the pace, so he's stuck in P6. Plebs has got a train of cars behind him. I contrast Leo and Wogboy all sitting behind the Alpine, unable to do anything. Leo, though, if he can get a run through the first sector, might be able to try and challenge I contrast. But he needs a good run. Chucks it through the bends around turn 6. Able to really close in on the AlphaTauri. Vision's overtaken Spilly for P12. Around turn 9. Nice tidy run. Doesn't quite get the drive though. I contrast got a better run out of turn 9. And there's Wogboy just sitting right behind, watching Leo's every move. Is that very close to the gearbox of GeForce Crichton as they head around turn 13 and around turn 14. Does he sense an opportunity to try and make a move? Or does he want to stay behind? Maybe try and play a longer game. He's got opportunities to try and do plenty of things. He could try and battle Crichton right here, right now. Or he can try and wait for his opportunity to try and strike. Save up a bit of battery. Save a bit of the tyres for later on in the race. Spicy P3, 3 seconds behind. Ferrari Pro. Then 40. 40's in. So after 10 laps, he's pitting in off the medium tyre onto the hard compound tyre. Away he leaves. Clean stop. Simple stop. No changes whatsoever as Roscoe Arm gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Now, 40 will come out in front of both Aston Martins, it would seem. Behind GeForce Zach. So you've got a little bit of traffic in front. Right here, right now, he needs to push. Needs to try and make the undercut work if he can. Crichton, half a second in front of Isaac Kush. Isaac closing in with DRS. Not using any battery, though. Maybe he is trying to play a longer game here. He had a look. Saying, Crichton, I'm right here, buddy. Have to go for a move. Just saving up a little bit of battery, though, right now. Plebs under attack here. Down the inside goes I contrast into turn 12. Leo tries to follow suit as they head out to the left-hander. Plebs maintain 7th. Leo, though, is right on his gearbox. Inches apart as they head towards turn 15. Leo trying to get the over-under done on Plebs, who tries to park the bus. But Leo draws alongside. Not quite. Not quite. Plebs got better drive out of the hairpin, and he was able to stay in front of Leo as Spicy pits in to get off the medium tyre. Out of the penultimate turn, up towards the final corner. Leo close, but not close enough to attack. Maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to line up a pass into turn 1. Uses battery, has DRS open, but Plebs has better straight line speed, and as a result, Leo cannot attack into the uphill hairpin. He has to stay behind. Spicy will come out ahead of Ford by some margin as well in P12 relative to Ford, who's down in 15th place, still behind GeForce Zach. Vision, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. The midfield battle is definitely on here. Exiting turn 9, can Leo line something up? Down towards the hairpin of turn 11. Go hard on the brakes, close in very close to the back of the Alpine. But we saw earlier, Plebs has got some really nice straight line speed. And look, Leo using every bit of battery he's got. Plebs is running low as well. So Leo, it appears that he's stuck. Cannot get by Plebs at this stage. Plebs has got a lot of straight line speed in the Alpine. So if Leo wants to make a move, he has to be more unconventional with it. He might have an opportunity here at turn 15. Needs to send it in, and does send it in. Plebs leaves the door open. He runs the Alpine wide, and through goes Leo. Fantastic stuff. Recognizing that his car was quicker in the corners, he was able to send it in on the brakes into 15, draw alongside, and get by Plebs on the exit. Saw an opportunity, and he went for it. Fantastic. And he has DRS. No, he doesn't. How does he not have DRS? It was well within a second. Yeah. Guess he wasn't. Top two. 6/10 apart. Is that still chasing Crichton? See, he doesn't have a great deal of battery. 37%. Crichton with 30 himself. So both drivers, they've got spare battery. See? Oh, Izzat's had a horrendous run through the hairpin. That's increased to 8/10. See, is that not bothering to use any battery down this straightaway? Just using the natural power of DRS to close in. As Zach, G-Force Zach, gets a 3-second time penalty. Cutting a lot there at turn 12. It's quite astonishing how much you can cut there at the left-hander. Alright, Leo's next target will be eye contrast. 4/10 of a second separating these two cars. It's been one hell of a recovery drive from Leo. Now can he set up a something similar to what he did to Plevs around turn 13? Well, he might be a bit too far back. Oh, yeah, he was. He was thinking about it. He was definitely thinking about a move. But I think he recognised he wasn't quite close enough to make it work. So he rather wisely bailed out of the overtake. Around turn 19. Tidy run there. And into the final corner, turn 20. As Plevs pits in, so does Wogboy. At the halfway mark of this race, they're into pit lane to move on to the medium tyre. Spicy goes in as well. Spilly goes in as well, I should say. Spicy overtakes a lot of them. He's on the massive undercut. He moves himself into P9. 3.8 seconds back is G-Force Ford in P10. Trying to recover whatever's left of this race for him. Got to remember, he's in a championship fight with Crichton. That mistake is going to cost him quite significantly, especially if Crichton doesn't make a mistake himself, and he's not someone who makes a mistake often. Neither is Ford, to be honest. Both really incredible operators, but today's that day that Fordy made a mistake. He's currently sitting in P10. Ton of work to do. Around the triple right-hander, will the leading duo pit? That is the question. Crichton moves to the left, he's in. Izzat stays out for another lap. He's going to try and do the overcut. It'll be a set of medium compound tyres for the former race leader and current championship leader. On they go, and away he leaves. So, keep an eye out for the McLaren of Spicy, as well as the Ferrari of G-Force Ford. Where did they come out relative to Crichton? McLaren's making his way down the main straightaway now. I believe that is Spicy. It is Spicy. There is Crichton making his way out to turn 1. Yeah, it's a pretty big gap between Spicy and Crichton right now. Gap sitting at about 2.7 seconds, I'd say. And Crichton's got a clear track in front of him. He'll be able to push on this lap. Try and make sure the overcut doesn't work for Izzat. Around turn 10. Up towards turn 11. See Karma and Vision just behind there yet to make a pit stop. Bags Liddell. A 5-second time penalty as he retires in pit lane. He's had enough for the day. Down the straightaway towards turn 12. The gap between the top two sitting at 18.5 seconds. As Vision's going to have a go down the inside of Karma. That's for P4 on track at the moment. We've still got a bit of pit stop shuffling to do. Izzat comes in. Pulls it up. Keeps it within the white lines. Nice and tidy. Pulls it up beautifully into pit lane. Leo, no, he's down to 15th place. He's had a moment at turn 12. He's tumbled back down the order. All that hard work earlier has gone out the window. He's down to 14th place as he's overtaken Roscoe Arm. Crichton has retaken the lead and the undercut has worked. The gap is 1 second between the top two, and Izzat has to get those tyres up to temperature. It won't take too long. They are the medium compound tyre, but even so, Crichton should be able to pull away through the opening sector, and that is exactly what he's doing. That overcut choice from Isaac Kush, I think, has ruined his chance of winning this race. It is Dunzo. Spicy. He now has to get by Karma. Karma has yet to make a pit stop. He's going long on the hard tyre. Begging, praying for a virtual safety car or for a proper safety car. Here comes Spicy. He should overtake the Haas with ease. And he will. Into P3 he'll move. Karma can't do a thing about that. And there's Ford just behind. Darren 11 down the inside of Ferrari Pro. Can't get it done there. Ferrari Pro hangs on to P6. Spilly and Roscoe are battling for position. Spilly gets by the Aston Martin into P13. Simple move there. Now Leo, he has to try and get by Wogboy and Plevs all over again. It won't be easy to get by as Crichton asserts his authority. Sets a new fastest lap with a 35.5. He is flying out there. Six tenths separating these two. So the battle's on for P6 on track. Karma staying out. Like I said, I think he's gambling at this point. Just praying for a safety car. Yet to have one in this race, 17 laps in. Everyone's kept it pretty tidy. Especially for COTA standards. Out of turn 9, 40 closes in. Over the crest and around turn 10. Wogboy gets a 3-second time penalty. Ford closing in at quite a rapid rate. Karma can't do much about this. It'll be a similar story with what happened with Spicy. Karma moves to the left, leaving the racing line open for Ford, and through goes the Ferrari driver into P4. I think Fordy's goal, he has to try and finish on the podium if he can. If he can get by Spicy and get P3, it would mean he would lose 10 points to Crichton, make it 11 actually, thanks to Crichton having fastest lap. Finishing down in P4 though, it would mean he would lose 14 points to Crichton, increasing Crichton's lead to 17 heading into the next round. So 40 needs this P3 and he's going to attack Spicy with everything he's got. Spicy though, I'm sure he'd like a podium. And McLaren, they're in a pretty solid spot in the Constructors. They're sitting pretty at the top of it as G-Force Zach pits in. Leo, he's made headway. He's back past Wogboy. His next target is Plevs all over again. Now, he overtook Plevs at turn 15 last time, but I think Plevs is going to be a bit more heads up this time around. Heading through the S's. Up towards turn 7. Leo closing in, yeah, by a little bit. Not by a great deal, though. Over the crest, around turn 10. Up towards turn 11. You can see as well, he's still low on fuel. He is 0.3 under, I think. Yeah, 0.3 under. Oh, what's happening here? Oh, no, it's these two. Karma getting involved in this battle with Ferrari Pro and Darren 11. Oh, and down the inside goes Darren. An opportunistic move. That has not worked. A spin, a collision. 2 collisions, in fact. One between Darren and Ferrari Pro. Another between Karma and Darren. It was an opportunistic move. A big send there at turn 13. Contact ensued. Darren spun out. And Karma was an innocent bystander and all that. Potential damage to the front wing on the Haas as well. Will he pit in? No, he stays out for another lap. Ferrari Pro, he now has a clear gap to the car behind, and he can watch the battle in front. The battle for P3 as Spicy and Fordy will duel it out for the final podium spot around turn 2. Up towards the S's now. Turns 3, 4, into 5, and the right-hander of 6. Brings it down to 5th gear. 4, around turn 7, into turn 8. Uphill towards turn 9. See the short shifting there, trying to find traction. Spicer got a better run on the exit, but Ford is close. Look how wide Ford goes as well into the entry at turn 11. Can Spicy do anything about this? DRS open. The McLaren, it's got some decent straight line speed, but I'm afraid it's not enough. Fordy's into 3rd place. Spicy leaving the door open. Can the McLaren fight back? Darren 11 getting by Karma for P6 on his recovery. Back up towards Ferrari Pro, but he's quite a fair way behind now, 5.1 seconds. Oh, Vision and Spilly. Small battle there for P12. Vision wins that one. Oh. And the rest of the battle seemed to be calming down. Top 2 still holding firm. But Izzat has closed in a smidgen. Gap shrunk to 1.6 as Karma finally pits in to get off the hard tyre. He gambled for a safety car, but it never came. The gamble did not work. Exiting the S's at turn 9. The gap increases back to 1.7 seconds, but Izzat gets a nice run. He closes the gap up again to 1.6. They're very even, the top 2. But if Izzat, if he wants any shot of winning this race, he needs to get within that critical 1 second range. Preferably as soon as possible. But I imagine with at least 4 laps to go. That way you could properly set up an overtake. He's closing in bit by bit. He's got pace. Izzat Kush. Fordy will be cheering him on, trying to attack the race leader for the sake of the Drivers' Championship. Crichton, though, is holding firm. 1.5 seconds still separating the top 2. Contrast under a bit of pressure here from Leo. He's close. Not close enough. Karma's overtaken Roscoe. That is for P14. He is elected to move on to the soft tyre, so he's going to be pretty rapid on those. Leo should be able to get by eye contrast here pretty simply with the help of DRS. Gets a tidy exit. He opens it. Does he bother to use any battery? Not yet. Closing in, closing in, closing in, and doesn't go for it. Does not go for the move at turn 1. Instead, he decides to wait. Wait for a better opportunity to go for the move as Roscoe pits in to get off those hard compound tyres. Coming out of the S's. See Leo all over the back of Contrast. He's got pace. And he should be able to get by Contrast pretty easily here. Didn't go for the move at turn 1. He'll go for the move this time around. He'll open DRS. Sit in the slipstream. Not even bothering to use any battery. Just using the raw power of DRS to slingshot by. Yellow flags are out. It's Grimmy in the Red Bull. He's had a moment. He's rejoined safely at turn 9. Yeah, as expected, Leo got by eye contrast. We all saw that coming. Contrast saw that coming. That's why he made the overtake so easy. That's closed in a bit now. 1.3 seconds is the gap. Izzat has got some pretty serious pace in the Haas. Around turn 2. Up towards the S's. 3, 4, 5, and turn 6. Crichton pulling away a little bit. Not by much, but by a little bit. Around turn 8. Around turn 9 in 5th gear. Really aggressive with the accelerator there. going to full throttle very quickly. Big lock up into the hairpin as well. The gap sits at 1.4. Very tight between the top two. Spicy's now under pressure. Ferrari Pro is close. Ferrari Pro might be able to set up a move here. He switches on the battery. He switches on DRS. He's sitting in the slipstream, closing the gap. Will he go for it? Spicy moves to the middle. Ferrari Pro moves to the outside, heading into turn 12. Spicy goes deep, but Ferrari Pro, with the traction, keeps the fight alive. Around the outside, that turns to the inside at turn 13 and 14. But Spicy has the nose in front, heading into the tight hairpin of 15. But Ferrari Pro doesn't care. He's trying to keep the fight alive. He now has the inside line at turn 16, and he gets in front. A fantastic scrap between those two. Ferrari Pro is into fourth. Can he close the gap up to third place 40? The gap is now 2.5 seconds. It's a big gap to close in. He's got pace. He's got pretty decent pace. Spicy though. He won't be disappearing anytime soon. And he's got a fair bit of battery. 33% to play with. So it's not over between Ferrari Pro and Spicy. Well, that depends actually, now that I think about it. How much time can Ferrari Pro gain through this first sector? Going around turn 6, the gap increases to half a second. Now 0.6 of a second. Through turn 7, into turn 8, the gap shrinks a little bit. Fluctuating quite a bit through this section. Out of the S's though, the gap sits at 0.8 of a second. Ferrari Pro gained a lot on Spicy. Yellows are out. It's Wogboy, I believe. Yes, it is. Spinning. That is at the exit of turn 7, entry of turn 8. He's down to 12th now. There's Hilaire behind. He needs to be careful. Those tyres are going to be hot. Spicy. As I imagined, he's not giving up just yet. Still using a little bit of battery, a little bit of DRS. Try and keep this alive. Ferrari Pro, he's got so much speed in the corners thanks to those medium tyres. Look at that gap. It increases to a second. Almost a second anyway. Now it is a second. Spicy might not have DRS here. Oh, I think he will. Only just though. No mean just. Yeah, he does have it. But on the next straightaway, I do believe he'll lose it. Ferrari Pro 2.2 seconds behind Ford. He can see third place. He's right there. Right there. Can he go for it? Can he catch him? Not too many other battles going on. High contrast and players pretty tight between these two. 0.4 of a second separating P8 and 9 on track. Excuse me. All the other gaps are pretty decent size at this point. Ferrari Pro's got 1.2 seconds now on Spicy. Now he'll have his sights firmly set on Ford. And the gap is shrinking. Just a little bit, but it is shrinking. Isaac Kush doing his damnedest to keep this fight alive as well. It's still 1.5 seconds as G-Force Zach gets a 3-second time penalty. Don't think tyres will matter much anymore. It'll be the penalties that will sort everything out as Plevs overtakes High Contrast down the inside of turn 12 to take P8 away from the AlphaTauri driver. High Contrast can't quite fight back at 13, but maybe he could set up a pass at turn 15. Will he go for it? No, he stays behind in P9. He'll wait for another opportunity to try and make a pass. Izzat doesn't have much battery left, neither does Crichton. They're both running pretty low. They're using every single resource they've got left. Pushing to the absolute limit. At the moment, neither driver is winning, but neither driver is losing. The gap has stayed pretty much the same. In fact, it's only just increased a little bit. It's now 1.7. Is that responding by using just a little bit of battery? It appears that Ford is responding to Ferrari Pro. The gap's increased back to 2.3. Now starting to shrink a little bit again. It's going to be quite a tall order for Ferrari Pro to attack Ford. But he won't give up, knowing Ferrari Pro. Won't give up until a few laps to go. Maybe even on the last lap. 1.8. The gap's starting to increase again. Crichton starting to stretch out that margin. He heads up towards turn 19. There's Izzat, just behind. Not quite as close as where he once was. We've now got 3 laps to go as Karma's overtaken Wogboy. Karma has kept pretty much out of trouble this race. P12 is not a bad effort considering where he started. He's made the most places out of anybody. Up 8 spots. Philly up 6. Poor qualifying. I was shocked to see him down in 17th. Up to 11th now, which is better. But I know that's not where he wants to be. No contrast up 4. Zach up 4. You can't take credit away from Leo either. Speaking of moving his way up the field, Leo, after that incident earlier on, charged his way back through, making dicey overtakes, but making him stick. Now needs to make another one. Oh, and Darren! And Darren's just made it easy for him. A mistake from the Alfa Romeo driver. Opens the door for Leo, and he goes on through into P6. Oh my goodness me. Both drivers have 3-second time penalties as well. So this is a genuine fight for P6 on track. Darren closing in with the help of DRS, but not by enough to attack into turn 12, I would think. Oh, it won't stop him from having a look, though. A big old sand down the inside, and he gets in front. Credit to Darren, he's in front. Leo trying to fight around the long way, can't get it done there. Tries to switch back. Looks to the inside, loses control. Too much throttle, too much steering input, and around goes Leo. Too audacious on the overtake. Through goes Ples, through goes Contrast. Leo back down to 9th. Again, all that hard work disappearing with one simple mistake. He yucks way too much of the tyre. And the tyre just gave in. 2 laps to go for the race leaders. The gap still sitting just under 2 seconds. Izzat with a 3-second time penalty means that his chance for the win has pretty much gone out the window. He just needs to pilot the car home, get it to the finish. P2 will still be a huge result for himself and for Haas. Crichton, meanwhile, he'll see Izzat's penalty. He knows he doesn't have to push as Ford. He gets a penalty himself. The battle for 3rd is on. Unbelievable mistake from Ford. He made a mistake earlier in the race by spinning out. That's a new one. Copping a warning and getting a 3-second time penalty. There is a chance, a slim chance for Ferrari Pro to finish on the podium, but he needs a mega final lap to try and pull this off. 40 will know that. Oh, something's happened here. Yellows are out. Who is it? It's Roscoe Arm pulling off to the side. Thought it might have been Plebs because I noticed his name tumbled down the order. No, Roscoe Arm was getting out of the way. Plebs trying to battle eye contrast. Leo's on the back of this as well, but he's got a 3-second time penalty. So even if he wants to battle, he won't ultimately gain anything. So the gap is at 2.9 seconds between Ford and Ferrari Pro. Both are low on battery, so it's down to the tyre, it's down to the car setup, and most importantly, it's down to the driver. Ford is starting to extend the margin. Ferrari Pro is fighting back through turn 2 into the S as we go. Chucking it through, cutting as much as he could there at turn 5. The gap still sitting at 2.9 seconds. Now up to 3, now up to 3.1, 3.2. Coming around turn 9, the gap shrinks back to 2.9. It's a proper qualifying off between these two. Ferrari Pro closes the gap to 2.8. Crichton, he's reduced the gap between himself and Isaac Kush, but he knows full well he doesn't have to push. He is a bit low on fuel, but he should be okay. Same with Ford. Same with Ferrari Pro. They're all good on fuel. 2.7 seconds is the gap. Yellows are out in the hairpin. I'm not too concerned about that. Crichton, Grimmy sets a new fastest lap, so he'll get that extra point. But it's been a fine drive from our championship leader as he makes his way up towards the final corner, weaving in celebration. Crichton will win the United States Grand Prix. Isaac Kush in second, but who will finish in third? 40 runs awfully wide. They're at turn 19. He gains time on Ferrari Pro, exiting the final corner. That will be looked at by the stewards, I have absolutely no doubt. Ferrari Pro had third, but Ford took advantage of the track limits there at turn 19. Clear as day. Ferrari Pro had a shot for that final podium spot, but 40, a bit tricky there. And I guarantee that's going to be looked at by the stewards. I have no doubt. I don't personally like that. I'm all for racing within the grey areas, as Leo's been given a 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that at all. Spicy P5. Not a bad drive from the McLaren driver. Karma given driver of the day. Fair play. Karma drove quite well after what happened during qualifying. Coming back through from last to finish just outside of the top 10. Well, it's another win for GeForce Crichton in this championship. He extends his point lead to GeForce Ford, who ends up finishing third in this race. P2 though goes to Isaac Kush. Gave it their all, but ultimately ended up finishing in second. It doesn't take away the fact that Isaac drove a superb race, but Crichton, he's our victor for tonight. So, the unofficial results, and I mean unofficial results, of the United States Grand Prix. Crichton is your race winner. Isaac Kush in second. Ford in third and Ferrari Pro in fourth. Spicy fifth. Darren 11th and sixth. Followed by Eye Contrast, Plev, Spilly, and Vision rounds out the top 10. Karma P11, followed by Hillers in 12th. Then G4 Zach in P13. Woe Boy in P14. 10 Sandals 15, followed by Leo, Luke. Grimmy gets fastest lap down in 18th. Roscoe Arm and Bags Liddell did not finish this race. Bit of a sour note. A little bit anyway. Alrighty. Well, it seems we're not moving anywhere from the screen, so what I'll do, I'll go blue screen, I'll invite the top three in, although I don't think Izzat will be chatting too much, but I'll invite him anyway. We can have a chat about what happened during this United States Grand Prix. Add players, please. Let's see here. Behind the scenes stuff is always fun. Is that... Oh yeah, that's right, Crichton's never online. Looking through the G's, why couldn't I see him? That's why, he's never online. Ford.
Good evening.
Evening. We'll have some stuff to talk about. Indeed. Crichton, well, maybe Izzat. I really doubt with Izzat. Crichton should be on his way. I'll tell you what. While we're here, Bailey, we'll start the interviews now and see who joins.
Yep.
P3 at the end of the day for you. P1 at the end of qualifying, though. How was the session overall for you?
Yeah, quali was very bright, I guess you could say. The sun was beaming down, but no, P1, I think that was my PB as well, which was good. But it was pretty quick pace in quali, so no, I pretty much did a good lap. I don't know if there was much more time in it, but yeah, definitely a good lap.
Fair enough. No, it was enough to put you on pole position. It wasn't by much. I think it was half a tenth, a bit over half a tenth at the end of qualifying. You know, a very solid lap from yourself. Well, we won't even go to the race start. We have to talk about formation lap.
For that.
Seeing as Crichton, you're here as well now. Hello, as well.
The one.
What the hell was that?
Do you want me to go first, or?
Could you?
Yeah. So I know Zach likes pulling off the Michael Schumacher straight off the safety car. Not the safety car, the formation lap.
Yeah.
To dive in front of me, you know, put a bit of pressure on it. I don't like that personally, so you know, went to cover it off. That broke myself a bit. Didn't go too far off the track. Still thought I was, you know,
Lucky in the next postcode.
No, I think I had at least wheels on the curb, so I don't think I was too far off. But Zach has come flying down my inside, and yeah, as I've come to rejoin, there he was.
There he was. Yeah, the two of you came together and both disqualified yourself. So, all right, Crichton, what about your side of the story on the formation lap? What was that?
I just try and get a good launch off the line all the time, so yeah, just so I can do a practice start, and yeah, Bailey went off track turn 1, so I just took the lead. Then he come back on for the unsafe rejoin, but it didn't really matter anyway because it was formation lap.
Well, you were both kind of screwed for the start. Both had low tyre temperatures for the start, and it showed. Izzat bolted off the line and took the pair of you.
Still, I'd say it worked out alright, but
for
it's
one
worked
of you,
out for me.
yeah.
I was alright. And so I'd say on cold hards I did a bloody good start. So yeah, it's probably my best start I've done all season.
And 40. You
Completely bottled my race.
Yeah. Take us through what happened at turns 16, 17, and 18.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like any other lap, same line, and the car just gave way. It was, I think, like last week for Zach, it was gone before I even knew I was facing backwards. Then it was just a really awkward way my car was facing backwards. I couldn't even just turn the car properly, so yeah, tyre temps were sky high. I tried one more lap of mediums, and they were just done. So it was going to the hards, and that probably helped me if anything. But I think I was on the right strategy today. It's just a shame with what happened.
Yeah, no,
like, even with that 2-second gap, I think it probably would have still been a pretty nice battle at the end. I think I lost probably be about like the 14-15 second gap. That was at the end there. So yeah, would have been interesting for sure.
Yeah, no, you had your little oopsie at turn 17. Recovered nicely. On the hard tyres, you were looking pretty decent, making your way back up to where you once were, passing Spicy as well for what was P3 on track. But then Ferrari Pro started coming back at the late stages of the race. You ended up copying a 3-second time penalty at turn 11.
Just put some unnecessary pressure on myself, make the race exciting.
Yeah, didn't you want?
Right, far out. That wasn't meant to happen. Yeah, mate, I was an inch wide. Again, I must have broken, you know, half a metre too deep into it, and opened up the steering too early, and yeah, it gives you a penalty for it. So I had to push a bit, but thankfully still P3 in the end, which is good. I think Ferrari Pro had an incident with Darren anyway, so something might happen there, but yeah. I still wanted to actually make sure I was
I don't
on
think
track.
you'd be getting a penalty for that. If anything,
No?
Darren might actually get it for that one.
Okay, I didn't see what happened, so...
I did at turn 13. But no, one final thing, because there's one bit you skipped. Turn 19 on the last lap, that's cheeky.
Yeah, I mean, I had the warning there. You might as well use it. It probably got me over the line at the end of the day. You saw Zach do it last week at Cops, so, I mean, it's in the laws of the game. Yeah, I just had to cop it.
Alright. Alright. Go with that. But no, the third place, you kind of needed it after what happened at the early
I
stages
thought I
of
was
the race.
done, honestly. Just kind of got my head down, and just, I guess, did what you could, and that was just drive. But, yeah, I honestly thought I probably would have come away with P5 or P6 and that, so P3 is a great result.
Yeah, no, you end up losing 10 points.
Yeah, mate, I just worked that hard to get all those points, and there they go, one foul swoop. So he hasn't turned up all season, now he turns up and steals P2.
Well, he could have stole P1, but he sort of dropped off and then came back. It was a bit strange. I think that was because Zach backed off, but yeah, no, almost got P1, but didn't quite have the pace, and you ended up recovering to P3, so congratulations for that. But,
thank you. Yeah, we'll take that. That's, as I said, tough race.
But next week, we're heading over to Mexico. How do you feel heading into next week?
I don't mind Mexico. I think I have the most wins there out of all the Pacific drivers, so yeah, it's somehow a good track for me. I do tend to get penalties, but yeah, my pace is good there, so hopefully it stays like that, I guess.
Yep. Well, no, I've seen a few of your victories.
Close results.
Very close results, yeah. So, no, best of luck to you then next week at Mexico City. But for now, congratulations on your P3 finish.
No, thank you. Cheers.
Now, P2 was Isaac Kush, who drove quite well today, in all fairness. Isn't here in the chat, which is completely expected, considering Izzat. But no, well done, Izzat. Awesome drive from you today, buddy, to take home P2. Got an epic start off the line. That was pretty neat to see. But we'll move on to you then, Mr. Crichton, our race winner. Winning here at Kota. Didn't have it easy, though. Qualified second.
Yep.
Were you happy? Probably not.
Yeah, quite happy stuff, because I spent a few too many minutes on the toilet, so I missed my first run. So it meant that I only got 2 runs, so I had to bail on my middle run there.
That's why I was able to get an on-board lap with you. Yeah, righto.
Yeah, so no, I was quite happy, I'd say, with that last run. So if I knew I could probably do a 0.2, but I'd say I choked the last sector and stuff a little bit, which is my strong sector, but I was more than happy with the front row here.
Yep, fair enough. And we've already discussed what happened on the formation lap with you two. With you doing a Schumacher impression and whatnot. But race start obviously did not go your way on the tyre. But you said you did a pretty good job on the cold rubber.
Yeah, and stuff. I'd say that I managed to start really good. And then, yeah, just through sector 1, I really just tried to put my car in the right spots, which I did.
Yep.
And then, yeah, that just allowed Kush to get away, but I wasn't really that worried and stuff, because I knew that my pace should hopefully be able to close up.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it was good. So first few laps there.
Yep. And 40 gifted you the lead.
Yeah, and stuff. I was just trying to manage those hards. I'd say my main goal was just trying to stay, probably 4 or 5 seconds, which I think hopefully would have been not too hard. So yeah, and then he spun. So and stuff. I was just trying to conserve after that. Just do really what I had to do. Not push that hard and stuff. Just get to the finish line and finish first. Stuff is to finish, So yeah, take it.
Well, I think one of the key moments in that race was the pit stop period, because you did an undercut on Izzat.
Yeah, well, that was actually 1 lap later than what I was going to go, but since it was only Kush and me, I thought, there's no point in me trying to box early. So I just kind of went 1 lap later, and then he went 1 lap later again.
Yeah.
And yeah, that just allowed me. Yeah, exactly. And then I could just hold him there. So yeah, that was just the main target. Just you try and keep him like 1.5 seconds, and yeah, like if I couldn't push, and that was the main thing. So I could just manage myself. Really, that was it.
And then
just bring it home for P1.
saw him get the 3-second time penalty, sort of just backed off.
Yeah, I'd say I was just backing off in that last sector. I was just waving around a little bit. So obviously short saw probably, but yeah, that was a good race overall. So I've take that. Just did what I had to do for the championship really. Just be consistent, which I've done across the last 5-6 seasons.
No, not much else to ask you because not much happened, but I know there was a fair bit of work to do.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that exciting for you, was it?
Oh, it had its moments. I created
Yeah.
narratives, and there was action elsewhere. Leo was coming back up after his moments earlier in the. He actually continued to have moments, so he kept on having to climb his way back up through the field, which made things interesting. But,
yeah, I'd say the field spread again was crazy tonight. Like what P8 was 30 seconds behind or something. It's
something
insane.
Like that. Yeah, with size gaps. So.
Yeah, it's like Bailey lost 15 seconds and still got third, which is just insane.
Yep.
So he keeps getting his jail out of free cards, which is lucky for him, but no, definitely makes it interesting.
One thing, I remember now. Turn 9. What the hell?
Turn 9?
Yep, the left-hander coming out of the
what
essence.
corner is that one? The wide one?
Yeah, where you abuse the track limits. How did you come across that?
Well, if you watched, I didn't do it on my last run because I knew sometimes it can get you. And I'd say that's probably the corner I was most vulnerable on traction. So just the first couple of runs, that's where I would just go a little bit wide. But the final run, I'd say with just more grip, I could just hold the line, so I didn't bother on that one. But I did find that in practice, and I was like, I can probably do it, but not on the last run. Yeah.
Interesting.
Sometimes it can catch you out.
The stuff that you fellas can find.
Yeah.
You threw me off with bloody spoon, and now this. Like,
oh yeah, spin was a mayhem, wasn't it?
Oh my god! But no, you ended up taking another win this series.
Yeah,
and you
I think that's
extend
my
your lead
fourth.
to 13 points now.
That's fifth, I think, Zach.
Then I think that's my and then that's my fourth win here at Coda, so it's not too bad out of 7.
Mr. USA over here.
Yeah, me and Swaggy, I think. That's it. Who's won here? So.
Yeah, righto. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But one final question for you. Next week we head over to Mexico City. How do you feel to the new next Rex track?
I haven't really done many laps there, I'd say, but I don't know. It should be a fun track, I'd say, for racing, just with that massive straight.
Yeah.
So probably just a DRS train, I'd say there, but no, it should be a fun one. And then maybe on warnings too could play a part again. So I'd say just trying to manage those would, I'd say, just be the goal for there. But looking forward to going there. Should be fun.
Well, in games past, it used to be a 2-stop race, or at least you could do a 2-stopper. I don't know if you'll be able to do that in this year's game.
No, I'd say on this shit game, it's really just hard medium.
Yeah, probably.
Or medium hard.
Boring.
Just whatever way you want to do it, really. That's it. Boring.
Because, in previous games, it would be soft, medium, soft, or something like that. Or you could do a medium hard if you wanted to do a 1-stop, but the hard tie was kind of useless. Soft tie was really, really good.
So now, hopefully, just head over there. Like this week's been quite busy for me with uni. So hopefully next week's not as busy, and I can do a few more laps there and try and work at the track.
Well, busy or not, you're still at the top of the table. So from my point of view, it doesn't make a difference in your performance.
Nah, you just got to chip away at it. That's all it is, really.
But no, again, thank you too for joining me here to answer a few questions. And congrats, Zach, on another race win in Pacific Tier 1. Well done.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
But I think, folks, I'll wrap up another week of racing for Pacific Tier 1. Not a bad race here at Kota. It wasn't the drama fest that we had last season, but it definitely had its moments. Kota, definitely one of the generally better racetracks on the calendar. But I think with everything said and done, it's time for us to end the stream. I've been LaneEveringham. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week for round 10 of the championship at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexican Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.